This door has not opened in 6 years, and behind it sits something toy collectors only dream about.
Only 200 of these were ever built, and this one spent 6 decades locked in a Detroit factory basement.
The gears that made its eyes move are completely seized, frozen in time since the day this train was locked away. The copper wiring dissolved in battery acid decades ago, and the main motor behind this compartment is completely frozen solid.
The frame is eaten through with rust and every gear and wheel is locked tight, and this is going to need a complete mechanical rebuild from the inside out.
Now we bring it into the light and into the workshop, where this 60-year-old survivor will get a second chance at life.
Before we touch a single bolt, we document everything, because the story of this train includes every scratch and every rust.
60 years of factory grease and basement dust are about to meet high-pressure water for the first time. Look at that. Under all that grime, and the original blue is still there, faded but fighting to be seen again. The dirt was hiding some pretty bad damage, and this rust has been eating away at the metal for 60 years, and we are going to need to cut out and replace some sections. Now we can finally see what we are really working with. No more secrets hiding under the dirt, and honestly it is in rougher shape than we hoped, but nothing we cannot fix.
The washing is done, and now we can see exactly what we are dealing with, and next we start taking everything apart piece by piece.
Every restoration starts with one single screw, and this one has been holding tight since 1963.
4 wheels and 4 axles, each one frozen in its own way, but we are getting them off without damaging the original parts, because everything we can save, we will save.
The entire gear assembly came out in one frozen block, and these gears were supposed to turn the wheels and move the eyes, but right now they are just a solid chunk of rust.
Battery acid is nasty stuff, and it has been eating away at this compartment for decades, and we have to get every single crystal out.
This is the heart of the train, and right now it is completely dead, but do not worry because we are going to rebuild it better than new.
This is the 1963 Custom Robot Thomas train number 99 stripped down to its bare bones, and now the real restoration work begins, starting with all this rust.
Rust removal is all about patience and pressure, and you work it section by section until the metal underneath finally gets to breathe again after 60 years.
Where the wire brush was not enough, the angle grinder takes over, and you can hear the difference in the metal as the rust breaks away and healthy steel finally sings again.
We are sanding away the last traces of the original damaged paint, because to build something beautiful, you sometimes have to take it all the way back to the beginning.
One gear tooth at a time. That is how you restore something that was frozen solid for 60 years, and there are no shortcuts when every single tooth matters.
The rust was worse than we thought in this corner. It ate right through the metal and left holes. But welding,
every hole gets a custom cut patch that fits exactly, because a good weld starts with a perfect fit, and we are not going to settle for anything less than perfect. Welding is where destruction becomes creation. That bright arc is literally melting new metal into old, and when it cools, they will be one solid piece forever. A perfect weld disappears completely, and when we are done grinding, you will never know there was ever a hole here at all.
Somewhere in the last 6 years, this train took a hit that bent its frame. But metal has memory, and with patience, we can coax it back to where it belongs.
The frame is straight, the holes are filled, and this train is structurally stronger now than it was when it left the factory in 1963.
Inside this tiny motor is a world of damage. Rust in the bearings, corrosion on the windings, and old oil turned to glue.
These copper windings are the muscle of the motor, and they need to be perfectly clean to conduct electricity properly. And one broken winding and the motor will never run again.
Brand new bearings mean this motor will spin smoother and quieter than it ever did, even when it was brand new in 1963.
This is the mechanism that gives this train its personality. Those moving robot eyes are what made the number 99 special in 1963. All new wiring means this train will have reliable power for the first time in 60 years. Every connection is—
Listen to that. A motor that was a solid block of rust just hours ago is now running smooth and quiet, and that sound right there is why we do this work.
The gear assembly is back where it belongs, and everything turns together like clockwork. 60 years of being frozen, and now look at it move.
Body filler fills the tiny imperfections that sanding and welding leave behind. We are building the surface up one thin layer at a time until it is absolutely flawless and ready for paint.
You sand and you check and you sand again until your hand cannot feel any difference between the filler and the metal. That is when you know the surface is ready.
Masking is the difference between a professional restoration and an amateur one. Every line has to be perfect because the paint will follow exactly where this tape leads.
The surface preparation is complete and the masking is perfect. For the first time in 60 years, this train is about to receive fresh paint, starting with the primer coat.
Primer is the foundation of any great paint job. It bonds to the bare metal and gives the color coats something to grip onto.
Watch how the gray primer changes everything, and suddenly all those different materials and repairs become one unified surface. And for the
planes. This is the moment where all that bodywork finally pays off. Under the primer, the surface is flawless and smooth.
Wet sanding takes the primer from good to perfect, and the water lubricates the sandpaper so it cuts smooth and even, and what you get is a surface.
This is the color that will define the entire restoration. Shiny cobalt blue with metallic depth that catches the light. 60 years without fresh paint, and now look at that color laydown. That is shiny cobalt blue going on smooth and rich. Multiple coats are what give automotive paint its depth. Each layer adds more metallic flake and more richness until the color looks like you could reach into it.
The red pinstripe was hand-painted on every single one of these trains back in 1963, and we are going to do it the same way.
Look at those colors together, that deep cobalt blue with the hand-painted red lines. This is exactly how this train looked the day it came out of its box in 1963.
Curing is the part of painting that nobody sees, but it might be the most important step. The paint needs time to harden all the way through bits. Polishing is what takes the paint from good to showroom quality, and the compound smooths out the microscopic texture in the cure. Now you can see the reward for all that preparation, and the paint is reflecting like a mirror because the surface underneath was perfectly smooth. The metallic silver trim was always meant to contrast with the blue body, and now it is polished to such a high shine that it looks like lichens.
The inside of the train is just as important as the outside, and these new contacts will carry power from the battery to the motor and the eye mechanism.
This is the face that makes the number 99 special. Those moving robot eyes are what kids in 1963 dreamed about.
The heart and the muscles are back inside where they belong. Every gear meshes, every wire connects, and every component is ready to do its job.
This is the moment of truth. Fresh batteries in and power on, and listen to that. The motor is turning.
One final detail to make everything perfect. A last wipe to bring up that ultimate gloss, because when we
60 years in a dark Detroit basement, frozen solid with rust and battery acid, and now look at it. This 1963.
Every frame in this video is handcrafted from concept to final edit. A real human guides every step using AI tools. All content is original and follows YouTube 2026 monetization rules.